And just to give you some background information about the University of Malaya, the institution that I'm from. University of Malaya, we have a very unique name, apart from the name University of Malaya, which has its historical roots from our Malaysian independent days in 1957. We are also known as the flag bearer of Malaysia. So as the leading university in Malaysia, the #1 ranked university in Malaysia, here are some of the numbers that is within some popular rankings that you might heard of. So we have the QS World University Ranking. So we are ranked at the moment in 65, and we are aiming to break top 50 in a few years' time. And within Asia, we are ranked #9. And in the Times University Ranking, we are ranked 49, just above 50, which is already in our aim. And in terms of green metrics, in terms of eco environment, we are ranked number 32. And just few other facts about University of Malaya. We are Malaysia's first, and at the moment, we are the top university in Malaysia. And we intend to remain the top university in Malaysia for many years to come. And in Malaysia, when QS University Rankings was first introduced for universities in Malaysia, we were one of the first university to be awarded this QS Stars University Ranking. And one thing that is very unique to University of Malaya is we have a university hospital. And it's one of the Malaysia's largest university hospital. It's known as the University Malaya Medical Center. And in terms of teaching staff, we have just above 2,100 teaching staffs. And among those, we have about 300 internationals. And we are known as a city campus. We are situated right smack in the middle of Lembah Pantai. And we have a campus about 812 acre in size, right? And in terms of students, we have approximately about 20,000 undergraduate students, postgraduate students just above 9,000. So close to about 30,000 students that we have in total for undergraduate and postgraduate. And we are a very large university in terms of the number of faculties. So we have about 14 faculties in place, and we have 4 very good, excellent research clusters. So you can log into our website to find out more about University of Malaya. Okay, so now about the case of University of Malaya and how the whole embraced COVID-19 and the migration from a traditional face-to-face to an online teaching. So what happened is, as we all know, that COVID-19 hit Malaysia quite hard from March 2020 onwards. So it started in December 2019 in Wuhan, and the virus slowly spread across the world, and it started to seriously impact Malaysia in March 2020. And due to this impact, University of Malaya, along with University Putra Malaysia, were among the first in the country, in Malaysia, to implement e-learning. And this was smack right at the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. So apart from the implementation of e-learning, we also looked into how we could migrate our assessments and our exams to an online platform. So there were talks about alternative assessment, there were talks about assessment of students, student outcome, there were talks about refining assignments, refining student learning outcomes, student lessons. So we looked into that, as well as we were forced to activate an e-learning mode. So it's not that we are totally new to an e-learning mode. We are renowned as one of the universities that have embraced the concept of blended learning, where there is a combination of online and face-to-face. So the impact on University of Malaya wasn't as great because quite a number of our lecturers are already familiar with online teaching due to the concept of blended learning. But what impacted us the most here is the need to reassess our modules and reassess our assignments and reassess the learning outcomes, the course learning outcomes, and to refine this to meet the requirements of the pandemic and online teaching. So the first dilemma that we face as lecturers in University of Malaya is this. So there was a great exploration phase in which we will need to decide on which of these application will be most suitable to help us in our classes, to help us to conduct our classes. So we have 4 of the commonly talked about applications. So we have Google Meet, we have Cisco WebEx, we have Zoom, and we also have Microsoft Teams. So there was a lot of exploration, and there was a lot of comparison between these 4. And what makes it even more difficult is that certain lecturers prefers certain conferencing tool. So for example, some lecturers prefers Microsoft Teams, and some other lecturers prefers other video conferencing tools. So due to these different applications of video conferencing tools, the students is the one that is impacted, because as lecturer, for example, for me, I will prefer Microsoft Teams, and perhaps another lecturer will prefer the other video conferencing tool. But on the side of the student will have to embrace the many video conferencing tool that is liked by the different educators. So if I love Microsoft Teams, the student has to learn Microsoft Teams. If the other lecturers love other video conferencing tool, the same student which taking the different modules and different classes will also have to embrace and learn different conferencing tools. So there were a lot of debate, and there were a lot of exploration. And what helped this process is subscribed to Microsoft Office 365. And in the Microsoft Office 365, we have free access to all the Microsoft Office 365 suite and applications, and the lecturers are able to access it for free, and the students are also able to access it for free. And due to this promotion, we have a promotion that time. You can see what is the nice caption: keep calm and enjoy Office 365. So that time was a lot of panic, and there was a lot of anxiety. So we were telling to the campus community, keep calm, okay, and enjoy Office 365. So you don't need to purchase, because at that time, certain video conferencing tool has a time limit, and certain video conferencing tool needs you to purchase to get more access, more features, more numbers of participants. So all these things factoring into the learning structure, it created a lot of anxiety and panic. So we communicated this across 8. We have this package called Office 365, and Teams comes with it, and you can keep calm and enjoy these benefits without paying any further dollars from your pocket. And apart from this, also we have formed a team, and this team is comprising of some e-learning experts, and I was one of them in this team. And we constantly talked about how could we mitigate this transition, how could we support our lecturers in terms of transitioning to an online teaching platform. So we came together and suggested, okay, who are the experts that we could look for who are good in certain topics. So these are some examples of programs that we run. So we had a program on how do you design and how do you develop an online learning course, and for our lecturers, and also we had other topics such as Nearport and exploring the Nearport capability, and we also had another topic on Edpuzzle and how to explore Edpuzzle. And we also, apart from that, one of the constant discussion among educators is about redesigning our assessment. So how do we assess students in an online platform? So we had also courses and programs. For example, we had how do you conduct online exams using e-proctoring tools, and this was a workshop that we've done with our lecturers as well. And we also had a workshop on designing and implementing alternative assessment. So this is to help them in terms of designing the assessments in their courses and in their classes. And also keeping in mind, most importantly, about this transition, there is a high tendency of stress to come in, and there's a high tendency of overlooking the mental health aspect of our educators and students. So we also have courses and workshops and programs specifically on how to manage stress, how to reduce stress, and how to, most importantly, build resilience among our educators. And these are some of the examples of our programs. And also, we have also designed some, this is more of impromptu, or this is more hands-on, where we invited some lecturers who have designed their online courses confidently, and they feel that this works and this gives them great output, and the process is proven. And we have had this modules called Peek into My Class, where we invited these lecturers to come and show examples on how they have designed their e-learning mood in their classrooms, and all lecturers are free to attend this, and they can learn from these lecturers and get some tips or two on how to design their own courses. But as part of this whole program that we are running, we have also launched e-learning clinics, and these e-learning clinics is done almost on a monthly basis among 4 experts, sometimes 3 experts, and there are certain dates and certain time given to lecturers, and they could come for these e-learning clinics. And this e-learning clinics is tailored specifically to let them know about what, and to help them specifically on the applications that they want to use. If they have encountered some problems during their classroom, some things doesn't work, so this e-clinic is to help them. And sometimes they have an idea, but they are not sure about how to realize that idea, what applications to use and how to implement it. So this e-learning clinics is to guide those lecturers on how to make their ideas a reality. And most importantly is predominantly the program is done to help our lecturers in terms of troubleshooting the problems and situations that they have in their classroom. But what happens in these e-learning clinics, most often than not, if you can see that we have run this almost on a monthly basis, but one of the common things that I get in these e-learning clinics is about the issue of student engagement, right? So this is where we have launched creative online teaching for student engagement, and this is specifically using Microsoft Office 365 platform, using Teams. So these are some of the programs that we have run throughout the year. This was from 2020 to 2021. So here I'm showing you some of the programs that we have run in 2021, but I could not fit all the posters from 2020 to 2021, otherwise the slide will look really packed. But these are just some examples of creative online teaching for student engagement modules and workshops that we have run for our lecturers. And this is to give them a feel about, yes, you have the applications there, but how do we use it to engage our students? Because in the e-learning clinics, one of the frequent qualms, or one of the frequent challenges that is communicated to us in an e-learning clinic is, how do we engage our students? And if you can see specifically here, this creative online teaching for student engagement modules and the modules for Microsoft 365 is not specifically just catered for lecturers and educators. We also had requests from the administrative staff. We also had requests from the executive staff on how do we use Microsoft 365, how do we use Teams in terms of work productivity, because most of them are now working at home and most of the files needs to be transitioned to an online platform. So we also had requests on how to help them in terms of working more effectively and productively. So one of the workshops we did run is also catered for administrative and executive staffs. But here comes the take, Microsoft Teams. So what is Microsoft Teams? And most of you are here today, and you would have heard about it, you have used about it, and I'm sure some of you have fallen in love with it, right? Now, Microsoft Teams is not just a tool. In my opinion, it's the tool. It's not just a tool, it's the tool, right? And why did I say it's the tool? It's because this is a fantastic application that has certain magic features. I will call it magic, certain magic features that perhaps other video conferencing tools might not have it, right? So let me just demonstrate on how you can use this magic for your classroom engagement. So let us just first start with me asking you a few questions, so let's start with the first question. If you find in your chat box, okay, you will see that you are able to use the emojis as one of the chat functionalities. So can you just give me an emoji in the chat box that best represents your feelings this morning? So can you do that? Just find an emoji that best represents your feelings, and you can put it in the chat box. All right. So I see Romwell. So you have a nice emoji there. Okay, Linda, nice. Dr. Mabel, I'm sure that you are very happy now because you have won a prize earlier. Okay, and yeah, you're clapping the hand, perhaps in anticipating that you're going to win a prize later on. All right, and yeah, Amir dancing away with the headphone, and yeah, you have Jaya Balan with a nice emoticon and a nice penguin dancing beside you there. And yeah, our Rico here has a love icon over it, and Kirby is giving a nice clapping hand. But what you have noticed is this emoji is not just an emoji. It's an emoji that comes with a motion, right? So if you were to see that emojis that has been placed in the chat, it's not just an emoji. It's an emoji with a motion, where you can find that the emoji has some movement. So it's not just a static image, it's some movement. So that gives some students and that gives some educators some excitement. So let me try the next one. Next to the emoji icon, you have the GIF. You have a word called GIF next to the emoji icon. Can you use a GIF, okay, that best represents your emotion this morning? Find me a GIF that best represents your emotion this morning. And you can find if you click the GIF button, it's not just a collection of that GIF. You can even search for other GIFs as well, right? What are GIFs? GIFs are some images with motions. So now you can see Linda. Wow. So you have some motions of two, Tom and Jerry. Yeah. Okay. That was one of my favorite cartoons. Okay. And yep. Yes. Thank you. Okay. Amir, I'm not sure what's happening there, but it seems that you need some refresher there. Okay. And Linda, it seems clapping very excitedly there. Okay, Ho, GIF and emoji are not available for Teams in browser, right? So Ho, if you dial in using a browser, there might be some limitations, functionalities that is not available. I would suggest to get the best experience to install the Microsoft Teams app, right? Okay, so we can see Rommel, yes, you have a nice picture of you laughing there. And Kirby, you seems to have a picture of somebody, a kid that is showing the face and seems to be excited about something that he or she he has accomplished. So what I have just demonstrated here is okay, coming back to the slide here, what I have just demonstrated here is the capability of emojis within Microsoft Teams. So you can see that one of the best part about Microsoft Teams is it's not just showing you an emoji, right? This emoji has certain specs to it, right? So this is what differentiates Microsoft Teams with other video conferencing tools. First, the emoji has a motion. That means it's a moving motion. And secondly, if you see that each emoji actually has a label, right? You have wave, you have surprise, right? So if you were to hover your mouse over each of the emoji, it has a label. Now, how did I use this in my classroom, right? So this seems to be very basic, right? But sometimes the basic works a lot of wonders, right? For example, while I'm teaching the class, if I want to see whether the students are following me, I will just say, can you find me an emoji that says wave, right? And they will have to hover over their mouse over each of the emoji and find, okay, which one is particularly talking about wave. So they click that and then they send it over. And sometimes during my class, I call a student, okay, for example, particularly Rico, can you find me a emoji that expresses surprise? So Rico will have to all of a sudden open an emoji and find, okay, which one is this that is labeling a surprise? He clicks that and he sends it over. So this is in a way to gauge whether your students are following you in the classroom and whether they are engaged in your learning and your teaching, right? So you can use emojis as this, and this labeling is only applicable to Teams. I have not seen this in other video conferencing tools. And also, the best part about GIFs in Microsoft Teams is this is one of the very, very few video conferencing tool that has GIFs capability. And when you talk about GIFs capability, these are moving motions. And when you click this GIF button here, it's not just limited to a certain set of GIFs here. You can even search. So if you put a search there, for example, thumbs up is going to throw up all the thumbs up GIFs. If you put shaking head, for example, and it's going to throw up all the GIFs that gives you shaking head. So you can even use GIFs in your classroom, so you can tell to your students, if you understand what I just taught you, give me a GIF that says nodding head. So your student is going to go and find for the GIF that looks like for nodding head. And you say that if you're not understandable, if something that I've showed you is perhaps is a bit confusing, give me a GIF that is probably you're shaking your head or confused. So they can find something and express it in the chat. And they can do this confidently without the need to raise hand and without the need to say that I don't understand and without the fear of you perhaps stopping the class just for that one student. So they are able to just express their expression here. So we want to give a safe environment for our students to feel that they're able to express their emotions, they're able to express their feelings at that time. So if they don't understand, they feel safe to say that I don't understand. And how to do it, you can use GIFs. If they say you want to feel engaged with your students, you want to see whether they're in class, you can do one of the best ways, informal ways, is by using emojis, right? Now I'm going to give you another case. What do you see here? What can you observe in this picture? Can anyone tell me in the chat? What do you see in this picture? Apart from me being there. So apart from me being there, what you can see in this picture?
A lot of people paying attention.
Okay, so that is a good class environment where people are paying attention. Any other observation? Yes, you can see learners, good. A group of students collaborating, okay. Thank you for that response. Any other observations that you have?
More females than men.
More females than men, that is a common occurrence. In our university, there are more girls than boys. Many facial impressions, yes. Okay, so thank you for the responses. No smiling, all serious faces. That has nothing got to do with the way I'm teaching, by the way. Yeah? So it's just that it's just captured randomly during the class. Perhaps they're being serious on something that I'm teaching them. Okay, let me just go back to what I'm trying to say here. Right, this is a typical virtual classroom setting, where you see that there's the grid form, where all the students are seated in a grid and there are boxes. When I talk about grid, there are boxes, right? So these are common in many video conferencing tools, other video conferencing tools. You have the boxes, the grid there where you see students in boxes, right? But what can you observe particularly here is here, most of these students are from China, right? So you can see that the only Malaysian there is me. And all these students are from China. So I'm in a unique situation where I teach leadership course in my institute, but some of the classes are 98% students from China, right? So what you can observe is this is a typical scenario of my classroom where most of the students, 98% of them are students from China. But here, what is more unique about Microsoft Teams is you are able to transition from that grid classroom, that boxes of images there, you're able to transition that into a mode which called Together Now mode. Now, this is something that I use in my classroom. When I start teaching, I immediately activate the Together Now mode. And why do I do that? Together Now mode, okay, is a situation where you are able to transition from the traditional boxes or the grid where you see your students are in boxes. You're able to transition that to a Together Now mode, and this creates a sense of a virtual classroom. Yeah, so you're not seated in a face-to-face classroom, but it gives you that sense that you are in a virtual classroom, right? And not many video conferencing tool has this. Microsoft Teams is one of the pioneers for this. Recently, another application has just catch up. It's called Zoom. Zoom has just catch up and they call it immersive view. But when Zoom has caught up to this and trying to rival Microsoft Teams, but there are still some limitations. Zoom can only do about 25 participants, but Teams can have many templates, and some of the templates can go up to 50 participants at a time, right? So what is this whole idea of together mode. The idea is to replicate face-to-face meetings. So you can't have face-to-face classes, is to replicate face-to-face meetings. And the idea is when you have a grid like this, you can see that students mostly are using their own home background, but there are some cases where students are using their own virtual background, and some of these virtual background can be quite distracting at times. So when you have this kind of together now mode, the virtual background is gone. And here it looks like a typical setup where they're sitting in classrooms. And here, as an educator, it makes it easier for you to read their facial expression. You're able to see their facial expression. You're able to see their body language and see, are they following your class? Are they enjoying it? Or are they started to yawn? Do they look they're bored? So here you are able to pick up non-verbal cues. You're able to pick up their body language. And one of the best thing about Together Now mode is this. One of the biggest complaints in online teaching is the students does not switch on their camera. So we only could see their name. They does not switch on their camera, right? Now in Together Now mode, for you to appear in this, you will have to switch on your camera. So now if I were to teach a classroom on Together Now mode, I don't have to be a dictator. I don't have to be an authoritarian and tell my student, hey, you must switch on your camera. So if, for example, I go here, I can't see you. Where are you, Rico? Can you switch on your camera? I can't see you. So instead of telling them in a very authoritarian way, you must switch on your camera. When you activate this Together Now mode, for them to appear this, they have to switch on their camera. So instead of forcing students, we are making them voluntarily turn on the camera because they want to be part of the group, right? And if some are missing here, then perhaps you can offer some words of encouragement to find out what is actually happening in terms of why are they missing in the classroom. So indirectly, you are encouraging student engagement. Indirectly, you are encouraging them to turn on their camera without directly telling them and forcing them to do so. And here, when you click this pencil marker here, you are able to change the many templates and scenes that is available in Microsoft Teams. Now, moving on, what you can observe here is a typical situation of translation. So as what I've mentioned to you earlier, most of our classroom consists of students from China, and some of them sometimes it's difficult for them to understand the English lingo because they come from a different country. And when they come to Malaysia, it takes time to understand the way we speak and to understand our lingo. So sometimes they could misunderstand. Whatever I'm saying, they could misunderstand. And sometimes whatever they are saying, I could misunderstand as well. So there is the process of repeating and explaining a few times. And sometimes this whole process of repeating and explaining a few times can lead to frustration and it can lead to disengagement. So if the student needs to explain again and say, can you explain it? Can you say it again? I don't really get you. I don't really understand you. It can, in a way, disengage the student. And the student might say, better I don't ask because this lecturer don't seem to understand what I'm trying to say, right? So when you have this subtitle here, this is basically translating what I'm saying, and this has helped to solve the situation. And how did I do this? It's quite easy. It's just a integration between Microsoft PowerPoint and Teams. So in your Microsoft PowerPoint, you have the slideshow tab there. So you just have to click the slideshow, you click the subtitle settings there, and here you have two options. One is you need to be clear what is your spoken language. So in this case, I'm speaking English. And the next option just below it is you can select what is the language that you want to be an output, the subtitle, right? So if you want it in Mandarin, then you can put Chinese simplified, for example. So once you activate this settings, you just screen share and bang, you're good to go, right? Okay. So now moving on further, let me just ask you this question. What challenges have you encountered in online teaching? Could you just share with me some of the challenges that you encountered in online teaching in the chat? Don't give me a paragraph, yeah? I just want a few words or just a few sentences. What are some of the challenges you encountered in online teaching?
Don't all speak at the same time.
Don't. Good. Cameras of student is not turned on. Good. Slow internet connection. Good. Right. Using handphone a bit tough. Yes. So in terms of challenges in devices, any other perspective?
I think usually it's about the interaction. because
interaction.
you're not able to read faces. You can't really see is there a comprehension of what you are trying to say here.
Thank you. So it's about the issues about interaction, issues about engagement. And Valen say no idea if students are actually there. They could be sleeping. Okay. Internet connection issues, patterns answering or doing the task, getting the attention. Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much for all these responses. Now, based on the responses that has been given in the chat, right? Could you just hover over each answer and give me a reaction? So when you go over each answer, you're going to get a tab that has a like, it has a heart, has a smiley, there's a surprise face, and there's a sad, and there's an angry face. So can you look at these answers and let me know which answer best represents, best relates to you? You feel that this answer is really good and I really like it, apart from your answer. So can you just give me a like over that answers? So I see that Tan has already got 2 likes. Dr. Mabel has already got 2 likes, right? Any others? So I see the highest, getting the attention is now 3. Okay, good. So the rest is catching up. 2, 2, 2. You have 3 now. Internet connection issue on student. Okay, Dr. Mabel is now leading. So maybe we can give you a prize for the best answer. Okay. Okay, getting the attention is now now 5. Okay, now getting 5, right? Okay. So now at this juncture, I'm not sure whether Rico, are you able to do this? It seems that this seems to be the most popular answer okay, we'll have the answer here. Are they able to unmute their microphone if I were to invite someone? Let's say I invite Chunti to just verbally speak something. Will be able to do that?
Chunti can definitely speak.
Okay, Chunti, are you there? Yes.
Yes, I'm here.
Chunti,
yes.
Can you just share with us? Your answer seems to be the most popular one. Can you share with us what you mean by getting the attention? Just a very quick one.
No, actually, for example, now I'm attending a lesson. Actually, on the other side, I'm also looking at something else. Okay, so most people when they are doing online, their screen may have many different pigeonholes, So getting attention is always one of the most difficult thing to do.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Chunti. So perhaps the distraction and the whole idea of multitasking, So attending 2 meetings, attending 3 classes, perhaps watching a Netflix video and also attending class at the same time, right? So the whole idea of multitasking is there, right? Okay. Yes, we are getting better at multitasking as well. So multitasking is a good thing. But applying it on a context and when to apply multitasking is another issue altogether, right? So here is a study done by the Association of Psychological Science, and this is the source there. And they gave about a survey to 611 educators, and they have managed to get responses from educators on every continent except for Antarctica, of course. And here we can see that what is the biggest challenges that they have encountered is keeping students engaged. So they find that keeping students engaged and interacted in the lesson seems to be a great challenge, and following very closely behind is preparing materials to be presented online. But let's look at what I've done with all of you here. Very quickly, I've asked you a question. What challenges have you encountered online? And you have given me the responses. And next, what I asked you to do is, based on the responses, can you give me a reaction? Right? Look at the answers that has been given by your students and give me a reaction to that. And some of you have reacted to that, and we can see that Chunti's answer seems to be the highest. So there's 5 likes and there's 1 love icon over there, getting the attention, right? So by using this tool in Microsoft Teams, it's just a matter of hovering over student's name. And what I've done is when I see that that particular answer seems to be the most popular, and I call that person to give me an explanation, because everyone seems to be able to relate to that answer the best, right? So something as simple as this can stimulate classroom engagement. Something simple as this can stimulate reactions from your students and engaging your students in a manner where they feel appreciated, where you met their point, their voice matters, and that you read each of their answers, and most importantly, you get them to discuss and see what is the common answer that they can relate the best, right? So this is one of the examples where you can use something so simple in Teams to create a very nice immediate lesson and get the immediate responses from your student. Now, one thing good about Microsoft Teams is they also have a capability to upload documents immediately in the chat. So let's say that you are in the middle of a discussion, right? And you want to upload some documents immediately and say, okay, yeah, this is a great discussion. We are going, all of you are right. Or, I think that we need to relook some of the research or some of the books that we have here. So you can immediately upload that document immediately in the chat and your students can immediately access. So you don't have to send it through a WhatsApp. You don't have to send it through email. You don't have to put it through an LMS system. Yes, you can put it there for long-term storage, but for immediate discussion, you can immediately upload into the Teams chat and they are immediately able to access. So this is the chat functionality, the excellent point of the strengths of Microsoft Teams, right? Okay, I'm going to move now. Can you name me an application, right, that has this function? I'm talking about application within Microsoft 365. Number one, it can be integrated with Microsoft Teams. Number two, you can integrate seamlessly with Microsoft 365. You can insert text, you can insert pictures, you can insert sticky notes, you can insert PDF, you can insert Word, you can insert PowerPoint, you can write and draw, and you even have laser pointers, and you have reactions there. You can give a like, you can put some stickers there, and most importantly, it has templates. So can you give me, what do you think is a possible Microsoft application that has all that? PowerPoint. Rommel, okay, thank you. Any other thoughts? Sway, okay, good. Whiteboard, right? Last 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. OneNote. Wonderful. Okay. So what is the application that I'm highlighting about is this fantastic tool called Microsoft Whiteboard. So Microsoft Whiteboard has been part of Teams application, but recently it has got an update in October. And what you can see here is some of the features within Microsoft Whiteboard. You can put some sticky notes, you can put, and it has some templates there, you can draw over it, you have some reactions, you can put images, and most importantly, you can invite your students to come and collaborate. So if you see the first top left side of the screen, there are some students who are already in the classroom and they're doing some work together. So you can do works together live, and you can, if you turn on the camera, you can see them through there, and they seem to be enjoying. There seems to be some interaction that is going on. So this is what Microsoft Whiteboard is capable, and recently they have even updated it to make it even more better, and this is the latest updates that you have. But how did I use Microsoft Whiteboard in my classroom? I particularly love the functionality where you can put PDF as part of your presentation. So this is a copy of the PDF that I've placed there, imported into Microsoft Word, and I've used the template function there. So this template comes together with the agenda and some tasks, so you can outline it immediately, what you're going to talk about in this lesson. And here you have a collection of sticky notes with different colors. So there was one activity that I did with my students where I brought them all in, so they are all able to join. You can see the arrow, they are all in the class together. And in this activity, we have done that. What are the things that they agree and disagree? So disagree, they can put a pink color. Things that they agree, they can put a green color. And here you are also able to get their reaction, right? So you have a thumbs up there. So here, when you give a reaction, you ask your students, pick only one of the sticky notes answer that you find that you really like it, and when they give a reaction to that, they give a like to that, you can immediately call and start an immediate class discussion. So this is how I use Microsoft Whiteboard. If you not use it, I suggest to you, strongly suggest to you to check it out, right? And the other features in Microsoft Teams, you have breakout rooms. Some of you might have been familiar, you have tried it out. So you are able to set how many breakout rooms do you want. You can do it automatically, or you can manually assign your students to do this. And this is a screenshot of how it looks like in a breakout room. I've tested it and it looks fantastic. You are able to see what is the names of your student in each room. And when you click this open button, you're able to immediately join each of the room and you're able to come back again, right? So you can check out this. These are some examples of breakout rooms. I'm in room 1. So you can see in room 2, this is a different set of students. And in room 3, you can see that this is another set of students, and in room 4, this is another set of students. So you are able to easily navigate between rooms And what I particularly like about Microsoft Teams Breakout Rooms is your ability to monitor the chat that's happening within the room. So you see here, I have room 1, room 2, room 3, room 4, right? So as an educator point of view, whatever that they are discussing in that room, I can let them know, please put in the chat whatever you're discussing, whatever materials, whatever instruction that you're discussing, put it in the chat. And from a bird's eye view, I'm able to monitor all 4 rooms at the same time. So I'm just able to click it and I'm able to monitor all 4 rooms. And the best part is I even can post an announcement here and all of them gets a notification of what's 3 more minutes, for example. And one of the things I like to do is I tell my students, if you need me to come and join that room, just put a message, Dr. Donnie, we need you here. And when they put that message, I see the chat, I will immediately go into that room. Now, this is something that other video conferencing tools is not able to give you. The ability to look at a chat in individual rooms from a bird's eye view. And if your student needs you there, they just put a message there, pam, you jump in and you're there to rescue, right? So you can look into this. And here is an example of Microsoft Sway. So I will share the link with you in the chat. You can check it out. Microsoft Sway will be done by Rico as well as part of this conference. So you can stay tuned and look into this. If you've never heard about it, I will share with you this link and you can check it out. This is a fantastic tool for presentations. When I teach my student on Microsoft Sway, they have somehow forgotten what is PowerPoint because they all have started to use Sway and they are no longer using PowerPoint. So this is a very interesting tool. I will show you, I'll give you the link and you can check it out. So some key takeaways from our session this morning. Number one, it's very important for us as educators to continuously get into ourselves into programs, workshops, conferences such as aMS Southeast Asia. Training is important, knowledge and education is crucial. We need to know what is the latest development and what's the latest update. And secondly is take advantage of the together mode. And in Microsoft Teams, you have the together mode settings. Take advantage of that to address one of the main issues of students turning off their camera. And the idea is to get the students to settle in within the classroom. You can use likes, you can use emojis to stimulate engagement. Sometimes to set the classroom environment is very important in the morning. You don't want to start a class and straight away go into your lesson. You want to ask how are they feeling. So can you let me know how do you feel by using an emoji? Can you let me know what is your emotion this morning by using a GIF, right? So that kind of creates a positive vibe before you start your classroom. Use Whiteboard to let learners to catch up. So you have a fantastic ecosystem application such as Microsoft Whiteboard. There are many capabilities that you can do as what I've indicated earlier. So you can use Whiteboard to let the learners to catch up, because we have to understand that we have 2 groups of students in our classroom. We have those who are introvert and you have those who are extrovert. Those who are extrovert, you give them 1 sentence, they are able to talk for 1 hour, perhaps even more, no sweat. But those who are introvert, for you to ask them to even say hello is very difficult for an introvert student. So they might be, their heartbeat might be beating very fast, for them to have the courage to unmute the mic and to say hello. That takes a great effort for an introvert student. So when you use applications such as emoji, GIFs, and you have chat responses, they feel safe. They are able to give you the responses without the need to say a word, right? So this is how you can get students to engage and catch up. And use breakout rooms if you want to give learning together. You want to have group discussion, group work together. Breakout rooms is a fantastic application, and you can use Sway. Especially for presentation and to build a very engaging story among your students, right? So that's it for me. So you might want to take note again of this quiz.
Donnie, can you go back to your previous case?
Yep, there you go.
Okay, so when I look at here, I find that there are so much things you expect teachers to learn. How do you get over all these things? How do you get them to be interested where their work is also overwhelming them?
Okay, that's a good question, Rico. I think that one of the things that is important for us educators is about the passion, right? And the passion and the need to learn. As educators, we need to be on our toes to learn what is the latest development and what is the latest improvement. One of the best things about the pandemic is you don't have a choice. There was no survey given to educators and say, hey, do you want to teach online for the next 1.5 years? Hey, do you think that we should change our online courses to an online platform? There's no forum, there is no parliament debate, there is no workshops given. It's just that red light, everyone migrate to an online. So you want or don't want, you have to. There's no choice, right? So riding on this whole platform of have to, and you have, university has changed the concept of education. So as educators, you want to stay relevant, you need to change. There is a need to change, and most importantly, who are you for? You are there for who? You are there for your students. So if you want your students to benefit, you need to change.
So here's the question. Yes, but you know what? I can just hang on, and then everything will go back to normal, and then I don't have to deal with all this. What about that? Do you think we will really go back to normal? What do you think moving forward? How will hybrid teaching matters in, let's say, for example, in your environment, your setting?
Yeah. One of my biggest take on this, learning will never be the same. That we have to acknowledge. If we are still stuck in a conundrum of thinking that everything is going to go back to normal, just wait for the time. We have been waiting. It's going to be close to 2 years now. Just add another 2 months and we have a 2-year anniversary of the sea pandemic, right? So we have been waiting. So how long do you want to wait? You're going to wait and you're going to wait, you're going to wait, right? So you need to transition. If you think that things is going to go back to normal, it's not going to go back to the normal. We are in the new normal. So you are going to have to embrace this thing. So we are going to an era of hybrid learning now, where there's a mixture of face-to-face and online teaching. So you still need a capability and functionality of instructional technology design. So if you think that, if you still think that we are going to go back to normal and we don't need to catch up to this, then there's a serious consideration about how are you impacting your students there.
No U-turn.
No U-turn. There's no U-turn. It's a one-way street.
So what are you doing? I mean, you are also in charge of leading the other teachers. What have you done that made it possible for you to rally along teachers to come alongside with you?
Is to let them know the need to improvise and the need to evolve, and most importantly, to stay relevant, right? Because in this whole pandemic, your students are evolving. Your students are learning. They are learning basic things on how to use functionalities and video conferencing tools because they need to access their classes. So if they are learning and you stop learning, your students are getting better than you. So you need to stay relevant, right? So you don't have to be an expert in something, but you need to know something. And when you know something, ideally, when you use it more often, when you use the functionalities in a variety of ways, you slowly become an expert. So you need to stay relevant.
Very true, very true. I think that's something that we all have to think about. You know, how are we letting COVID whip us, or are we gonna whack it back?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
So I think I will just round up here. So for those of you, there are some questions as part of this presentation. You can join this quiz. You can scan now. Now is your opportunity. And there are some questions as part of this presentation. You can scan the quiz. And and this will be my email address. You would like to get in touch, you can get in touch with me. And there are many different sessions in different tracks. So just remember that a tool in the hands of a great teacher can do wonders, can do magic, right? So you can go along all the way and learn different tools, hundreds of tools, many different tools. But if you do not know how to use the functionality, and most importantly, remember the title of the session, creatively. So if you know how to engage basic tools, I'm not even going into the advanced functionalities of Teams. I'm just showing you the very basic tools. So if you're able to engage the basic tools in Teams and use it creatively, a tool in the hands of a great teacher can do magic. Okay, so that's all from me.
Thank you, Dr. Donnie. This has been a really, really wonderful sharing, and it's a great way for us to start. So moving forward, we will have stay around if you want to learn about how technology is helping to prevent forest fire. Yeah. Thanks again, Dr. Donnie. And do stay along, and we look forward to you sharing more fun stuff the next time we have a conference.
Thank you so
Especially a
much.
physical one, yeah.
Thank you so much, Rico, and I also thank the conference organizers, Fidelis, Sdn Bhd for inviting me. And also, most importantly, is to our fellow passionate educators in this room this morning. Yeah, I understand that we are all in a very challenging era, but let me just give you a words of encouragement. Is to try and to try and to try and to always have option A, option B, option C. So if option A doesn't work, we go to option B. Option B doesn't work, we go to option C. So always have a plan in place. And if something doesn't work, it's okay. Just smile, tap yourself in the back, and we go to the next option. We go to the next plan, right? So we all are in this together. Let's sail this together. And we have a fantastic tool here that has been developed for us, and it's just to use it to the best of your advantage. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Donnie. I think everybody will agree it was a great fun time, and I believe that it is possible to engage your students. In fact, you will learn new ways of actually getting engagement, because sometimes the students at the back, they will just hide and you will not be able to go in. Yeah.